What is going on, guys? Rated Designs here today using a new recording software. This is actually QuickTime, but reason is because my good old ScreenFlow has quit out on me 4 times in a row because of doing this. So this is my 4th time doing this tutorial. I'm getting a little bored of it, so don't take it out like, oh, he's not putting his effort into it. This is my 4th time trying to do this. But as you guys can see, I've pretty much made my grunge, but this is what I'm going to teach you guys today, is grunge stuff, like just grunge and in general, and how to make it look really, really nice with brushes, with different techniques on how to erase things to, different colors, really using it to enhance stuff, not ruin it, shall I say. So let's just get started. What you're going to need to do is, I'll erase this. Let me clear the layer style. First thing you're going to do is open up a document, 1280 by 720, and just make a nice gray to dark gray to a semi-medium gray, medium tone. And then after that, you're just going to want to create a text. Now I already have it. I just name it whatever you want. Now this is 2D grunge. 3D grunge is pretty much the same thing. It's just with 3D text or 3D object. Here's how you all do it in Photoshop. I'm sure there's ways to do it in this good old program right there. But yeah, anyways, to go on, we're going to create your text. We're going to go into a nice gradient overlay, and today I'm going to use a color because I'm going to show you guys you can use it as a color. You can just switch gradient overlay, go to bevel and emboss, size 1, untick global light, switch that to 0 and 119 as your angle, and opacity down to 25 on your highlight mode, which is your white. And you're going to go to inner shadow, distance 1, size 1, 0 choke, untick global light, 90 angle, 100% opacity, switch the blend mode to white and overlay. And then you're going to switch to your drop shadow, of course, 0, 30, 20, 35 opacity, whatever, doesn't really matter. And yeah, that's basically what we're going to do to start. Now, with grunge, everything needs to revolve around an object, revolve around, something. I mean, grunge, yeah, it can be a very solo thing where you just make a grunge wall that has a lot of meaning to it, but it's very plain and just dark. But that's what we're going to use, but a lot of things on YouTube, it revolves around something. Revolves around a word, a model, just an object. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Now, of course, you guys aren't going to have all the brushes I have. If you want all my brushes, for 300 likes, I'll put out the new grunge brushes that I downloaded, plus more, of course. But in my 20K pack, all the brushes that pretty much you're going to be using here are in there, except for a few. But yeah, so what you're going to do is you're just going to find it's pretty much the bottom of all of my brushes that I have. You're going to want to go all the way to the bottom, and there's going to be a lot of, they're just going to be numbered. They're going to be like 1 through 15 or whatever it is. And there's going to be grunge brushes, and you're going to find one, choose one you like, get a white, and just coat your background with a new layer in this grunge. And you're going to switch it to overlay. We're going to erase just parts like this, just kind of around the sides, and switch the opacity to 75%. What it does is gives it a nice backing starting point. Then you're going to create a new layer, choose a different grunge brush, like a different wall grunge brush, something in the same area, and you're just going to want to coat more of the text here. You're going to want to back the text here a little bit more, not the whole thing, just the text. And you're going to erase it so the text is affected by it. And you're going to want to just switch it to overlay, just like usual. And new layer, same brush that you used on the text, we're going to switch it to black. And you're going to just coat it gently around the text. Don't want to overpower that black, guys. And you're just going to erase parts that you don't really want and switch the opacity to about 50. Gives it that nice, contrast, of course. Then what we're going to do is use splatter brushes. Splatter brushes are awesome for grunge. They are the coolest things in the world, and you can find them anywhere. So in my pack, I recommend a lot of the ones in my pack. So anything you see splatter-wise, use it. These are just some that I have here. They're pretty cool, but just going to kind of cover the text in, you know, an abstract way, and switch it to overlay. And switch to about 75. New layer, and these brushes I found, I believe on all these brushes you can find them. Brush King, Brush Easy, any of those you can find them. And these are just scan lines, but they're grungy scan lines, kind of cool to use. And you just switch these. Everything pretty much is overlaid, but you kind of want to just really surround this around text. And now what you're seeing here is you're starting to get a really nice feel for the grunge, just kind of giving you that mysterious look. And as you guys can see, it's kind of starting to look good. But here's another thing that I really love to use. It's called script. Just script brushes. You can search it up in Google. They're all over the place. What really, you know, when you think grunge, you think dark, and that's what you have to think everything. So as you guys can see, there's grunge, and what I like about these is that, you know, when you look at a really old book, it's written in this script. Even like the, you know, you know, Constitution. You know, see how, like, you know, it just kind of looks like it's like just fades off, and, you know, because of how old and rustic it is. That's what I like the best about it, and just that's kind of what I feel out of it. And a cool technique is to take a soft eraser and to just click in random areas to make it almost look like it's fading off. Gives it a really nice look to it. Now what we're going to do here before I start anything else is you're going to click on your Adjustments tab. You're going to go to Curves. Now this is below the text. And you're going to switch this to a nice, you know, get it pretty dark. And see how it kind of just, it's very mysterious, and it looks like it's very surrounded by this. And it's just kind of cool looking is basically what I'm trying to get out of it. It just looks very nice, and it's just very grungy. It's really what you want. Now below this, what we're going to do is another really good brush to use for grunges is halftone brushes. Now halftone brushes are like millions of circles and like shapes and weird looking areas. I'll show you what they look like. I've used them on a bunch of backgrounds, if you've seen any of my current ones, but we'll get to the text in a second. But background is probably the most important part. Hold on, I selected the brush, but I don't know why. I think, okay, here we go. Hold on. Photoshop being stupid. Okay, here we go. And these are the brushes. If you click, kind of looks like that. Just kind of click in areas that, you know, don't really need it, but, you know, you're going to do it anyways. And you're going to just kind of erase them like this. And you're just going to switch them to overlay. And what it does is, and switch to about 50, is it kind of just gives it a nice, cool looking contrast, like there was another texture here at a time. Kind of looks really cool. And I like it. My opinion. You guys can do whatever you want. Now make sure before you watch this tutorial and just completely go into it, you have these brushes, because they're not these, but like, you know, brushes very similar to it, because you're going to want to kind of feel with it. Now this is just how I do it. Grunge is a very tough thing to just, you know, say this is exactly how it needs to be, because it's very creative. And it's very, there's one way to do it and there's other ways to do it. So yeah. Anyways, after you have that, pretty much the background is pretty much, I'd say it's done. I actually am going to add a pattern overlay in the way back. And what this is right here, I'll reset the default. I just put a bunch of my textures right here. Hold on. Right here. And then you just color dodge it and switch it to about 25. Just gives it more of a grunge and the feeling in the back. Anyways, what you're going to want to do here is you're going to rasterize your layer style after you're done. And this is all erasing. This is grunge erasing. Now, I'm going to show you one thing you can do to get it look like it's just, the text is just being destroyed. Like it's just kind of being ripped apart. You're going to want to go down to a grunge brush, a splatter grunge brush, whatever it is you have downloaded. I usually use these. And you're just going to want to gently, not gently, shall I say, just kind of erase, just click once or twice in areas that you feel kind of, or you want to be destroyed. And that's kind of where I'm kind of going with it. And that's kind of what it is. And as you guys can see, it's getting very destroyed. But other things you can do, create clipping masks and take your brushes. And for instance, here's like the scan line brushes. And you're going to just take whites, switch it to overlay, 50, and you're just going to want to keep using, you know, blacks and whites and just stuff like that to give it like a really weird feel to it. Sometimes you might not want to use overlays, sometimes you just might want to lower the opacities. Just depends on what you're doing. Going to use, you know, other grunge brushes too to put in there. So like, you know, if you want to use a splatter brush or something like that, you know, you just kind of put a nice black splatters everywhere. And you just switch it to overlay. See how it just makes a really dark blue. Maybe 35. And you know, that's kind of your grunge. Now to, you know, of course, enhance this, we're going to use a gradient map. We're going to take this to about a nice blue. Switch it to overlay. Switch it to about 25. Maybe like 15 actually. And then we're going to take a photo filter. And we're going to, you know, give it a nice cool feel to it. And that's your grunge. So of course, here you guys go is a nice really grungy thing. Trying to think. Another really cool thing, which, I mean, I'm going to just show you just because of how cool it looks. Oil painting this. Now here's an oil paint texture technique that I use. You're just going to merge your background layers, which would be these. And you're going to filter oil paint. Now it's going to bring up this little screen. And in my opinion, you're going to want to zoom in. 100%. And you're going to want to switch the stylization up to about like almost 10. And, I mean, maybe 9 if you want. Cleanliness, you want to really bring up top. Scale, you can really make it long. Shine, depends. And you just kind of want to hit OK. And that gives it even cool. And if you added a little bit on the text too, like watch. Gives it like a really mystic, weird feel to it. But here's the grunge filter, oil paint. And you just hit OK. Kind of like, almost looks like it's just disappearing and, you know, really cool looking. It's just cool looking stuff that, you know, it's really it. I think it's just cool. And, yeah, I mean, anything really goes. But yeah, that's basic grunge, guys. You can use these on backgrounds, anything. I'd love to see what you guys can do. But before I even stop and just go, and but I would like to say that this top 5 is really awesome. You guys have put in some awesome stuff. But I would like to explain that if you don't get into this, it's not like, you know, you should hate on it, because it's not like a contest. There's going to be one every week. You're going to have a chance every week. You can keep entering the same thing if I don't see it. Now, the top 5 designs, you know, they're not always going to be the same person. If it is the same person and they deserve it, they deserve it. That's how it is, I can't say. Also, there will be a lot of special guests doing commentating over it. So, hint, hint, if you look in my sub box, that's all I'll say. A lot of those guys are going to be commentating in it. Honestly, I'd like to see some COD guys come in and do some stuff, but hey, leave in the comments below what you guys want to see tutorial-wise, what you guys want to see graphic, speed art-wise, anything you guys want. New series stuff, anything you guys want, leave in those comments below. Like the shit out of this video, I'm Rated Designs, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Deuces.